House votes to renew FISA spying tool after earlier Republican revolt. Prior to passage, the House failed to adopt a bipartisan amendment to curtail warrantless surveillance inside the U.S. Section 702 of the law expires on April 19th unless it's renewed. So what does this mean for your everyday American?
What it means is that government, just for an FBI agent, claiming there's a reason important to the country, can file a national security letter and go in and find out what people are doing. And to say that it's never political, it's not going to be abused, that's baloney. The FISA should have been taken down. This law, we already had the tools through the Central Intelligence Agency to determine if somebody's doing something to try to hurt our country. And unfortunately, the CIA often misinterprets that in order to justify starting wars. However, FISA has permitted our government to be able to reach very deeply into people's personal conduct. And this bill, look, right now the government can track your internet searches. The government can flag individual conduct. This, to me, that is a nightmare. That is not what a democracy is supposed to be about, small d. It is anathema to the very principle of freedom that we believe we have as Americans to have the government equipped and a law that enables them to spy on Americans without a warrant. That's the point. They can do it without, before, if you want to go and find out what people are talking about on their phone or any other form of communication, you have to go to court. You don't have to do that now under FISA. So, Congress rejected the Biggs Amendment that would have required a warrant to be able to follow the personal conduct of people. To me, it is a violation of the Fourth Amendment, which prohibits unreasonable search and seizure. It is also a violation of right to privacy. I mean, our government is too busy about reaching into people's private lives and their personal lives. And in a way, when you have a law like that, everybody's a potential criminal. It's a status. If the government doesn't like what you're doing or saying, they can go after you. That's why I'm for dramatically revising all of those bills that were passed in the wake of 9/11, because otherwise we're looking at at something that resembles more of a stalinesque state than the United States of America.
I want to put a pin on that. The fact that you are bringing up Stalinesque things. I mean, you've been around DC for a long time. You've seen the different political parties kind of change and grow and stuff. But you also understand that you understand what Stalinesque means. So it's not used lightly. Like, there are a lot of people that are hyperbolic about stuff. But Dennis's, his depth of knowledge and his experience using something like that, it should hold weight. Now, I think that I'm on the complete same page about all of the government spying, all of FISA, all of the stuff that the Patriot Act, made normalized. Right. And I feel like also we're kind of reaching a time where the people that were most vocal about not doing this, because I remember Ron Paul and you were very, very vocal.
Ron and I worked very closely together.
Yeah, and that's part of the reason why I know I was a big Ron Paul fan, in 2007, 2008, when it came out that, the government lied to us. I was a Republican, and I thought that, okay, well, this is the government is doing this and it's important and blah, blah, blah. And then when it came out, they lied. I felt really, I took it personally. And it's important that the people that were there when it was passed are out here now saying, look, we need to stop this stuff. And it's 20 years on. So a lot of the people that were there, like Ron Paul, they're not there anymore. They're not in Congress anymore. And we're losing the voices that were protesting before. And we really need to amplify their voices against the things that are happening today.
What is the Biggs Amendment that you said failed?
Yeah, no, it failed in a tie vote. Congress, the vote was 212 to 212. If there's a tie vote, that means the bill or amendment does not pass. And Biggs basically said you can't, you need a warrant.
And that was today?
Which is what the Fourth Amendment says.
Is the argument for this like the whole world is spying on us, so we have to spy on ourselves too?
I mean,
I think the argument is There is no U.S. government. There's an enclave which acts outside of the interests of the people. The people have no say in how things are done, and we can only pretend.
That's not an argument. I mean, that's not an argument that I tend, but like, I get what you're saying. I believe that is true.
Is not accountable. Studies have been done that show that the government is not accountable to the people. The opinions of the people have no bearing whatsoever on policy.
But beyond just mad power control, are they justifying it like, look, it's going to happen anyway, so we need to get ahead of this and be the ones that are collecting data?
Well, you think about it. Intelligence agencies changed over the years, where instead of having a sharply focused approach towards collecting information, as one intelligence leader said, why go for a needle when you just take the whole haystack? Mm-hmm. Now, that haystack is everything about us. See, to me, we must have a private sphere in our lives, which is reserved to us. That's who we are. You know, it enables us to effectuate the idea of life, liberty, and pursuit of happiness. When the state intervenes in that in any way, it is not just chilling, but it's antithetical to the entire idea of freedom. Whatever system you're in, it's antithetical to freedom. And we have to watch this creeping statism, and knock it down at every point. Government has too much power over people's lives. And we have to look at the ways that power has been misused. And it is misused. There's just no question about it. The government doesn't really audit the abuses. They just look the other way. And our politics have become weaponized. If you're on the wrong side, they'll go after you. And this is wrong. Justice is no longer blind in this country. The blindfold is off. And the people who are in power can look one way or another and decide who they want to go after. That's not what America was intended to be. But that's how we're evolving, and that's why this vote concerning the FISA, the Foreign Intelligence Act, this Surveillance Act, this vote was really important because it basically says, whose side are you on? Are you on the side of the deep state, or are you on the side of freedom? That's the divide right now.
And Mike Johnson, the speaker, we might actually play the video. It's pretty short. I imagine you might have.
We'll get to it in a minute.
Yeah, that was freakish the way he seems to have turned. Like, he came in and be like, "Yo, the FBI has too much power. Let's all pro America, yay!" And then he's like, and then they took me in the back room, and now I see it the other way. So now I'm gonna go along with the FBI and the wireless wiretapping.
Maybe he met the.
I'm taking him out of context.
Alpha Draconians in the back room who told him that he was a chicken and the aliens are in control.
I'm sure they surrounded him with a bunch of psychics and just focused psychic energy into his head, and he was like, no.
I'm sure they didn't.
Who knows what the hell what they tell him? What kind of things do you think that he was told in the back room, Dennis?
Well, let me just say, there wasn't any real. I mean, whether it was a back room or not, news reports have that members of the Justice Department were right outside the chamber of the House, pulling people out to talk to them. That's very rare, by the way. Go ahead.
We have this tweet from Thomas Massie. He said, "This is how the Constitution dies. By a tie vote, the amendment to require a warrant to spy on Americans goes down in flames. This is a sad day for America. The Speaker doesn't always vote in the House, but he was the tiebreaker today, and he voted against the warrants, meaning if he didn't vote at all, the warrants would have won."
Dennis, you can see whatever he's got.
Yeah, well, Tom Massie is spot on. And he's a patriot. He really cares about this country, and the Speaker is in a box. I mean, you've got, on one hand, you've got people that want to kick him out immediately, and then you have others who are gathering around him. He's like a wishbone, and people are pulling both ends of it. And if he survives, it'll be surprising.
I don't think the people have been represented in this country for decades. There was a study that found the political opinions of the American people have no bearing whatsoever on whether bills get passed.
Yeah, Ron Paul.
It is lobbyists, corporations, the wealthy.
We had Ron Paul on the show a year ago or so. He said he thinks the Republic died when Kennedy was assassinated. And he was like, I think the CIA killed Kennedy. And that was when the Republic officially was like, well,
as someone who was a senior in high school when Kennedy was assassinated, and I have a point of reference on that. There's no question the country changed. It changed emotionally. It changed in terms of the grip that the deep state had on the government. If you look at the speech that Kennedy gave at American University, in I think it was May of it was in the spring of 1963, half a year before he was assassinated. He called basically for taking down the military-industrial complex in the same way that Eisenhower did a few years earlier in his farewell speech. He said that we want to create a country where peace is inevitable, not war. And so the observations that Ron Paul has made about where America is today, he's 100% right. I mean, I've worked closely with Ron. We're still very good friends. And we have to, Tim, I want to go back to what you said about the American people having their government taken away from them by Citizens United, Buckley versus Vallejo, free money equals free speech, best Congress money can buy, by the role of corporations in the government. Look, when I went to Congress, except for the fact that people helped me get in and get elected over the internet contributing, I was able to escape the condition that most congressmen have. They're given a book that's about a foot thick of PACs to call for money. And instead of going to the floor of the House and engaging in debates, members come to Congress and they go to the respective party headquarters and they dial for dollars. They have pagers. When there's a vote, they run to the floor and they vote. But most members are not involved in a day-to-day debate because they need to raise $3 to $10 million, depending on the district or more, to come back. And the system is adverse to the interests of the American people. So, Tim, what you said, absolutely right.
Thanks for watching this clip from the Timcast IRL podcast. Hang out with us live Monday through Friday at 8 p.m. and become a member over at timcast.com for uncensored, members-only shows exclusive. Thanks for hanging out, and we'll see you all next time.